All right, traders, this is Christian from Tribeca Trade Group, and a quick rundown. Today is Thursday, March 14th, one day before quadruple witching. I'm going to do a separate video on that a little bit later, just a quick 5-minute video on what quadruple witching is all about. So I'm not going to talk about that during this video. Today, just a quick recap of the price action. Listen, there really wasn't much to to go on today. Very choppy activity all today. I kind of threw in the towel today at around, I don't know, 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock. I just didn't think that we were going to get. I saw a lot of names that were just kind of chopping around, like a little bit of a ping pong ball. When you see names, and I'll tell you what I saw. Just to give you a couple examples, Netflix tried to break out and failed, and once it comes back into, what I mean when I say into value, just basically back into this value area for the day on the 5-minute bar. But that just kind of tells you that we just don't have the momentum. Square was another one that shot up, on the first 5-minute bar. We see this from time to time where the first, maybe not, sorry, this was not the first 5-minute bar, but like the third or the fourth, and just boom, like a whole bunch of big move, and then it gets to the previous day range. It touches there, and then it's like it gets squashed. It's just weird that happens. That it's so much of a spike up. But anyway, that was so. Thank you again, value areas. I saw this earlier because I've had my eye on Square for the last couple days, and I sent out a trade setup, a keep it simple trade idea for Square. I do not have that on yet. Just something I've got patience with this name, so I'm kind of waiting to the end of the week because I'm looking at the weekly bar, which I think needs to close where I want it to. But that's for members, so I'm not going to talk about that right now. But yeah, I mean, thank you, value areas, because I saw that strength in Square, and once it didn't break, I've learned to kind of wait to watch these things around the top of value. So it hit this level and just completely fade. From $78 to a dollar move, very quickly, and then just chopped the rest of the day. A few other names that I saw that. So if you sat on your hands today, Amazon took out the VPOC that we were talking about yesterday. I think I mentioned that in yesterday's video. I talked about it on Twitter. A great place to. I ended up taking some profits. I didn't wait for the VPOC to be taken out. I took some profits yesterday, and just kind of sitting with a position, trying to sell a little bit of premium against. I've got the small position that expires next week. And I've been flirting with flirting is not the right word, but just trying to do that with some short-term. I've got a short-term call spread that expires next week, and just basically taking the opportunity. If I don't think it's going to move, which I didn't think, that VPOC was a perfect place to sell premium against, which is kind of what I was doing today. And not big with doing that. Here's the where the version point of control originated from. But again, great place to do that. So a little bit of a fall down at the end of the day. These, I'll tell you, the last, I don't know, what has it been, the last week? These end of day have been complete fades. If you just look at the S&P, or maybe we'll look at the Qs. But it just seems like we are not powering through at the end of the day, and there's some sellers in there that are kind of driving things, right? I mean, as great of a day yesterday was, you had that fade, starting with like the Brexit stuff, like the Brexit vote after the vote after the vote after the vote. Sorry, I'm joking around a little bit, but that was kind of the reason, and we just can't recover. And same thing, like if you look at the VIX. So again, this is really short-term stuff that we're talking about, and nothing to really get that riled up about. But it just seems like there's some selling going on. All right, you have the move up into the this was yesterday, Wednesday. Move up until the VIX popping, and then it just kind of comes in, but the market just continues to sell off. Same thing here, right? Pop on like right around the time of the Brexit vote, and the VIX then comes in after that, but equities don't recover. It's kind of something weird that's going on in the short term. And again, it could be just because it's a choppy tape. Today, but those moves have been happening the last couple days, where we're where we're seeing a little bit of a fade. And I've been saying the last 5-10 minutes are not a place to trade, not really a place to, kind of swing around day trades and so forth. Unless you're shorting. But right now, a couple. Remember about a couple weeks ago to a month ago, we were seeing pops into the close. Now we're seeing fades. So just something a little bit different is going on. So another thing that I keep hearing. I heard this. What was the word that I heard on financial media today? What are they saying? Stalling at this level. I tell you, a lot of people like you turn on. Sometimes it's just really. I like to have both Bloomberg on and CNBC, but sometimes it's more just distractions, and I'm not putting them down or anything because they are doing their job. But calling like, oh, we're stalling here again. Just give it a little bit of time. We haven't turned back the other way. So if we were to turn back at that resistance, remember we did that starting last Monday, and then we powered back up. But we're not doing anything bad here. So give it a break on the financial media. I know that they're trying to increase ratings, but a pause is fine. There's nothing wrong with taking a pause. You just have to be patient. And for them to go on and say, oh, this is a 5-month, I heard that a couple times today. It's 5 months since we can't get over this. Really selling the drama. Just give it a little bit of time. It looks like we're going in the right direction. If we start to lose those short-term moving averages, and by the way, a very easy level to watch in S&P, right? You can see it right on my charts. That red 2803. If we move back into value, yeah, you could continue to maybe take off some trades. My whole thing, which I talked about yesterday, was taking off risk, but I still have trades on, and I'm still looking at different new setups. But if we start to break back a little bit, fine, just take your exposure off. It's not really that big of a deal, and it's such a close limit away that as long as you're disciplined and monitoring it, you'll be fine. I think that's my anyway. That's my thinking. So don't sorry, I'm struggling with words today. As they say, it was a little bit dull today. Don't short a dull market. IWM was the one area that I was watching. I talked about that pre-market in the trading room. I said, watch these small caps. They haven't really had the strength the last couple of days, and they were down 40 basis points. They did not really. Did they take out the lows? Probably right at the end of the day, but they had that right around 10 o'clock this morning. Bounced, and then again went a little bit lower. Tried to bounce again, and then closed right on the lows. So, that's not giving us such a great sign, but we'll see. It is a little bit of chop. We're not, it's not a down 1.5% day. These were down 40 basis points. All it would take is some quick buyers to come in, and you'll forget about that in 2 seconds. So, all in all, I would say the conclusion for the day is, and what I said in the trading room at the end of the day. If you manage to kind of sit on your hands and maybe walk around, I took a longer lunch than I usually do because it was beautiful out in New York City, and I just kind of walked around a little bit. I know that sounds like, oh, well, he's not in front of the screens. When you think that there's not momentum in the market and the trading is just not there, that's actually the best thing to do, is to take a little bit of a break and get away from the screens. It also, if you do that for a little while, it gives you really good perspective on what you're doing. So there's no harm in taking a break. I actually, like, after the week that we've had, if I wasn't managing a trading room, I would have been gone this afternoon. I would not be here this afternoon. But there was some interesting earnings plays. So I think that was kind of what I was kind of sticking around from. Alta's up to 325. They had good earnings. They actually touched 333, so really, really nice there. A couple other names that reported a lot of fades. I played a couple of these, and I think the only one that I have working for me is Alta. I played JBL. This name pops and it fades, and I just forgot to put out an order around 28.5, I guess, which even wouldn't have been that big of a deal. But they had okay numbers. Oracle, I never play them. I think they're flat. They just do this every quarter. Adobe, I don't play them either for earnings because they just don't have a great. Oh, look at that VPOC taken out. What a coinky dink how that happens. But yeah, Adobe just doesn't have great earnings. I really look for names that have great earnings history. A few other names here have this big short interest. It looks like the shorts are going to be rewarded on this one. I don't see any MDB play like we saw last night. A couple other names. Broadcom, I think, did pretty well last I checked. That also has taken out a version point of control, so a great place to take profits at 282. You could see that version point of control from up here. I feel like I'm missing a couple names. Pivotal, they're down a little bit. Their numbers were not good. So that's a few names. I think there's a few other ones that reported after the close, but I think that's it. I wanted to keep today's video shorter, just 10, 11 minutes long. But again, the price action, I could go over a couple names that we've seen some option activity in. I can't believe they're seeing more option activity in ZS. Oh, I did want to cover this just for a second. So I've been talking about this the last couple days, even though I'm astounded that these names are still, this is up another 3.3%. I sold this, 2 days ago, I think. I'm completely out of Zscaler. I did buy back a little bit of Splunk today. I want to be in have some exposure to this group. But certainly, I think this group is getting very expensive. Now, you could have said this, and I was having a nice conversation with one of the traders in the room about how expensive this group has gotten from a valuation standpoint. But they've been trading like this for a while, right? They've been expensive for a year. If you've been a value person, and I know a value person who has not been in any of these names, for has stayed out of this whole rally because of fundamental valuation issues. But that said, right? So some value people have completely missed out on the whole move, and what's been the leading move of the market in 2019. But you have to be realistic and just make sure that these things are getting the multiples are getting really stretched on these things. So I talked about it yesterday, and I'm just reiterating again: rinse and repeat. Right? Scale out of these names as they're going up, and you wait for the next move down. One name that I was looking at today that I'm not in, and I looked at the chart like 5 times. It was in the weekend newsletter. Just one I did not get in was Cyber. But this one didn't even give you much of a chance, right? Look at the support right at the top of value, 103.04, and a bounce. So last comment for the day, I traded WWE. That was really nice. Somebody increased their, I think it was Baird, increased their price target. That was my one nice day trade of the day. And then, like I said, I kind of sat on my hands. So we'll leave it there for the day. Thanks for watching. Have a great night. See you bright and early for quad wishing tomorrow.